Today we're going to replace the Downstream O2 sensor on a 2012 Kia Soul. The check engine light has been going on and off intermittently, and we discovered that the diagnostic said that the O2 sensor had to be replaced. So a few days ago, when the check engine light went on, we went to AutoZone and had them run a free diagnostic with their equipment. It took just like 2 minutes, and what this diagnostic says, which might not be clear, but it says that the downstream oxygen sensor was bad. So I jacked up the car a little bit just so I can get under it. Also put a jack stand under the frame just to make sure that it's safe and it doesn't move or fall. So the downstream oxygen sensor is accessed from the right side of the car, the right side of the muffler, and we're just pointing at it, and we can just get a wrench on there and unscrew that first. I sprayed some penetrating oil on it about an hour ago so that it would hopefully loosen up. So the next thing we're going to do is just see if we can loosen that. The wire from the oxygen sensor goes up into the car. There is a rubber stopper there where the wire runs into the area where the passenger's feet would be under the rug. So we're going to have to take that rubber stopper out, but I'm going to first start by loosening the sensor itself and just making sure we can get that out.
Beautiful. All right. And look, it's easy to reach. It's very easy to reach.
Yep. I'm going to try to remove the sensor with adjustable jaw wrench. There is a tool you can buy for about $15 that's a socket that'll fit over the wire. But we're going to try to do this without having to spend that extra money, so hopefully we can get that off.
Beautiful.
I got the wrench on the sensor now, and I'm going to try to remove it. I can see already it's really tight, so... Just going to... No, that's not going to go like that. All right.
Okay.
So I had to hammer this about 10 times. I could not get it off just by hand, but I hammered this adjustable jaw wrench, and we got the O2 sensor loosened up. So now it's actually loose in there. Just take it out.
Now remember, you did spray that. What was it?
Yeah, it looks shiny here because I sprayed this penetrating oil on it. It probably helped out a bit to get it off. Like I said, I couldn't get it off by hand, so I had to hammer it.
May I ask, how far in advance did you spray that oil so that you let it soak?
I sprayed the oil about an hour and 15 minutes in advance and let that just soak in there. I'm going to just loosen this up now. It's twisting the wire, obviously, but I guess that's nothing to do about that. You got to get it out. Okay, so here it is.
There it is.
So here is the oxygen sensor. It looks pretty crappy. I mean, it's black, you know. It's in the exhaust. This is the what I believe is the catalytic converter right here. So now we have to get this plug up here pulled off. It was actually very easy. I just pulled this with my finger, and this rubber stopper was holding this in to the bottom of the car. I just pulled this with my finger, and now I released the stopper, and now we're going to go in the car to work on getting the other side out. Okay. We took the mats out of the car. And what we figured is that that rubber stopper is about here underneath the mat. So what we have to do is take off some of the trim and then pull the mat back up so that we can get to the plug that connects the O2 sensor. So let's take a look here. The first thing we did was we pulled this foot plate off. Now this just has 4 clips in it, and we were able to just pull this and snap it off by hand, but you could use one of these plastic pry tools and just get under there here and snap it. But like I said, it actually came off by hand.
Oh, okay. Pull it up. That's all,
so you put your finger in here, right
pull.
in there, and just pulled it, just snapped it right up. Okay, that's great. So that was the trick to getting that out, was just pulling it with your finger right there.
But it was a little bit scary, right?
Well, yeah, when you don't know what's going to happen. Now, what we found was that there were a couple of screws that you had to be taken out. This thing right here is we took off the this plate, which it wasn't that hard, but there were 2 screws, one at the bottom here that was holding it in, and this thing, actually there's a screw that comes out from under the dashboard, and this thing screws onto it right like that. So you can actually use a flathead screwdriver to take that out if you want to. But we took this off. This just snapped right off once we took those screws out. The point being that we're trying to pull this rug up so we can get to the wire. Now, the next thing we had to do, and I don't know if there's a better way, but we snipped the rug, because there was this wire that's connected to the frame of the car, and I didn't know how to get this out, or if it was even possible. So we just snipped it here, and snipped it here, and snipped it. No, actually, we didn't have to snip it back there. Just these 2 places we cut the rug so that we could pull it up. And now you can see this is already moving. The rug is already coming out. But what we have to do next is we pulled this piece of plastic off, and I just have it sitting here, but there's just a couple of clips, there's no screws, so you just yank that a little bit, it comes right out. There's a few clips right there. So we removed the foot plate here, the piece on the right, and then the piece on the left. Now, and we cut the rug in 2 spots here. Now we're just going to pull this rug up. As much as possible here. It's got some padding underneath here. Okay. Now, it's even from here, there's no way to pull the whole rug out because it's actually attached to the seat. So I'm trying to just pull this as much as I can, and
I see it already.
So we pulled this rug up as much as we could, and if you get down a little bit, you can see the hole where the wire's coming out of from underneath.
Very cool.
And the connection right here. So I'm going to just see if I can just disconnect it from this point. Yeah, it's very simple. There was just a little button for your finger underneath. I just squeezed it, came right apart. So I'm going to drop this through the bottom, and we'll get it from the other side. So unfortunately, the new oxygen sensor, which is the one in my left hand, does not have the same connection as the old one, which is the one in my right hand. So we're going to have to go back to the auto parts store and see what the story is. Try to order a new piece. But as far as well, even the length of the wire is different. This is longer. But
the new one is longer. But that wouldn't matter. That would be
not
good,
really.
Actually, right?
Not really. But this is a problem here. So
you could see.
We found that the original oxygen sensor that we bought was the wrong one. So this is actually the new one that we ordered. It's Walker part 350-34480. This is the oxygen sensor that we took out of the car. So when you order it, if you go to an auto parts store or whatever, you have to look at their pictures on the computers and make sure that the each side is matches the one that we are taking out, and also that it has that plunger, because the new one we ordered is going to have that that stopper. This is the connector of the oxygen sensor that we took out of the car. So this is the connector that whatever brand of oxygen sensor you buy has to have this connector, and of course the sensor itself has to look like that. There's other sensors that look different, but that's what it's got to look like. We had some trouble with the first oxygen sensor because it was the wrong model. So this one that we got now is the right one. It's a Walker, and the number is 350-34480. So here it is. This is the new one. You can see that the tip on the sensor and then also the connector matches what we have, and also the rubber stopper, which connects to the car to prevent the water from coming in, is built into that. This is the actual part list from the auto store, and you could see the price was $117.99, and the part number, which was a Walker part. So we're going to put that in now. So I have the old part and the new part next to each other, just checking that they look the same. The sensor itself is good. We have the rubber connector, and then the contacts, or the plug. The plugs are the same. That was our problem with the first one that they gave us, which was the wrong connection. So one of the things that they say to do is put anti-seize grease on the threads. Now it just so happens that this one, I can feel the threads already have that grease on it, so we're not even going to bother with this packet because the sensor itself already has it. So I've already taken out the old sensor. I'm sorry, I'm just doing this with by myself, so I'm going to put the new sensor in, and then I'll videotape that. It just screws right in, and it does have a washer on it. So I put the new oxygen sensor in, tightened it down with the wrench. I put a good amount of pressure on it. I'm not sure if really it should be torqued to a certain level, but I just tightened it securely. This rubber piece is a little tricky, takes some work. You know, it's got a lip on it, so part of this rubber piece has to be outside the car and part of it has to be inside the car, so that the metal of the frame has to go right in that groove there. So I'm just going to work on this and try to get this slid in. And what I found was it was best to feed the whole thing up into the car, and then actually from underneath the car just pull on it until the half of the stopper comes out. So now you see it. Now you can see it's making a nice seal there on the bottom of the car. So again, inside the car, I'm holding up the rug. I'm pulling the rug back. Here's our oxygen sensor wire. It's coming up, and here's the connector on the car. Since I only have two hands, I'm going to stop the camera, and that's just going to click into place. I just connected the wire to the car. Make sure that clicks in, because you do have to push it in quite a ways to get it clicked in. So now we're going to start up the car and see if the check engine light has gone off. Alright, I started up the car. Now the check engine light is still on. What I've read is that sometimes you have to disconnect the battery and then reconnect it to allow the computer to reset. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to open the hood and just disconnect the battery. I remove both terminals from the battery. So now the computer should reset itself completely at this point once I reconnect this all. So I'm going to just reconnect this and try to start the car again. Oh yes. Oh yes, that was the trick. Now the car has been started, and as you can see, the check engine light is out. So learn something new every day. In order to actually reset the computer, I needed to remove both the positive and the negative terminal from the battery. You know, just for a minute or so. I put it back on, and now it just started it up. So I think our project here is successful. So I have tucked the rug back down, and now we're going to put these plastic pieces on. This piece has some clips on it, no screws, and it's just going to clip right back in here. I don't know if I can do this with one hand, but I think I might be able to. So that'll just clip right back in there. Now this piece is going to go on the right hand side here, like this, and we're going to put the 2 screws that belong with this back in. These are the 2 screws that go with the plastic molding on the right side of the foot area. This one goes on top, and this one goes on the floor. So I'm going to just put those back in now. Lastly, we're going to put this foot panel in, and like I said, it's got some clips at the bottom, no screws, so it's just hopefully going to snap right into place. Just line that up, give it a hit. That's it, it's in. So that's all set to go. Thanks for watching our video today. We hope this saved you some money. We got a quote from a local garage of about $600 to do this job. Once we saw how easy it was, we did it ourselves, and were able to complete it for about $120 and saved about $480. Yahoo!